Hello everybody, good day to you. Welcome back. Glad you guys are here. This is a 2016 Kia Sedona. It's a miniature people hauling van and it has approximately, I don't even know, 138,519 miles on the odometer. Customer stated maintenance, and we've done a large amount of maintenance on this Sedona earlier this week. We've got a brand new set of front friction material. We have a brand new set of rear friction material. That's pads and rotors. We did an oil change on it. We're finishing up with a coolant service on it. We did a brake fluid exchange on it. We did a transmission fluid exchange on it. And now we're gonna get to the good part. And the good part lies beneath this ginormous intake manifold assembly right here. Well, half of it does. Half of it's right here, and the other half is way back down yonder. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull this intake off, and we're gonna pull the ignition coils out and check out our secondary ignition components. Now, this is gonna be a rather large job, so we're gonna get right into it. So stay tuned, because this is gonna be a very good video. Opening the hood. Here's our brake rotor. There was our brake rotor. Now, this is a fairly large job, so we're gonna get right into it. I've got lots of stuff to do today. We have a full shop, we have a full parking lot. Those ones don't count. But the rest of that stuff's out there and it's waiting to come in here, so we need to get this thing done and out so we can get those things back in the building. Now, when looking at a conglomeration such as this, it can often be intimidating and you gotta wonder, where do we start? And what I like to do is just start at the beginning. You get what's closest to you, you take apart what you know you have to take apart, and then kind of just work your way down from there. So since there's really no clear point to start, we're gonna just go at it right from the air intake. We know that has to come off because the intake manifold has to come off. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna start pulling connectors, and we're gonna pull this intake tubing off. Once that's off, it'll give us access to something else. We can take that off, and so on and so forth, etc., etc., etc. So that's sort of going to be the plan of attack. I'm probably going to remove things that I don't need to remove. I'm probably going to forget to remove things that do need to be removed, but we'll figure that out as it goes on. So we're just going to peel back some connectors without breaking the connectors. I hate it when connectors get damaged during service, because then they don't go back and it's ugly. We don't like ugly. The best kinds of jobs are the ones that you can't tell that someone has done. And that's the goal here. Leave only footprints. There we go. Here, let's disconnect this evap purge solenoid hose right here. Let's walk that back. Stick that thing aside. We can disconnect our positive crankcase ventilation hose. Give me back my glove. Give me that. I'm gonna twist this first to, no, that's not gonna come off. That feels scary. Yeah, it's not breaking free. There we go. One more hose on this intake ducting right here. We'll twist it so it breaks loose and then push it away. Come here. There we go. Okay, we've got two 10 millimeters. Those are on the clamps. Pull those off. So I wonder if I should just pull this whole airbox out. We'll see. I don't know if I've ever done this job on this particular truck before. Truck van. Alrighty, as it turns out, I do need to remove this airbox. I don't think I can remove that ducting without pulling this out, which is no big deal. It's just that snorkel. Looks like there's a 10 right here and another 10 over here. Pull these guys out, or not. They seem to be captured in the airbox here. And I'm gonna have to pull the battery out too. So I can't get the airbox to come and fit out because it's being captured by this brake. Well, looks like it happened again. Had an audio failure with the GoPro, and this was with an external mic. I purchased a powered mic, and it looks like one of my receivers in the powered mic has a crappy battery, so this died mid-sentence. Anyway, as I was saying, this brake master cylinder reservoir is capturing the intake box, and I can't get the intake box out because the battery is in the way. So I'm pulling the clamp. Looks like the cables have already been removed on this battery. I'm gonna lug this thing out of here and get it out of the way. You can see there's two 10mm bolts right there securing that air box. It looks like I've already removed them, and there's a grommet and a big pin in the back. So I'm just reaching back and disconnecting. Oh, the intake snorkel hose, that's what it is. When they haven't been removed for a while, they get really stuck, and I'm just trying to pry that off of the throttle body. You can't just pull on it, because if you pull, it squeezes tighter, or it's going to slip off and you'll cut your hand on something. But once you break that surface adhesion between the two components, and they no longer have that bond between them, they should slide off. See how this is coming off? There it is. Okay, airbox is coming out. That's out of the way. Now I can kind of wiggle this thing, get the tubing out, and we need to pull the throttle body. Look at the bottom of that throttle body. You're going to see two hoses going onto it, and those are actually coolant hoses. It's like a bypass designed to heat the throttle body. We're going to just disassemble that, or disconnect it rather, with the 4 bolts. I think it's 410 mils. We're just going to disconnect that and lay it off to the side. That way I don't have to take those coolant hoses off and then crack into the cooling system. Should just be 4 of them, I think, if memory serves. Yeah, 4 long ones. Those get just kind of set down up on the wiper cowl. And we can just kind of tuck that thing down off to the side. Right behind it, there's this big PCV hose that wraps around from the bank 2 valve cover up to the top of the intake manifold. So I've got to reach in there and disconnect that too. Also, there is the brake booster vacuum hose. That's the one I'm working on right now. And again, those pieces are stuck together, so if you just give them a little bit of a twist, not so much where you tear the rubber, but twist it enough where it starts to break that bond, you can rock it back and forth, and eventually there'll be a reduced amount of friction and it'll come off of there. But again, you got to be careful not to poke holes in it. Aggressive pliers will cut those things to pieces. So if you have aggressive pliers, you just can't really squeeze very hard. Now this PCV hose right here, this one's super awkward because the clamps are pointed away from me, both of them, and it looks like the upper clamp is going to be the easiest one to get off. Unfortunately, it's slipping off of these needle noses, and every time it slips, it points farther and farther and farther away. That seems to be making this a little harder. Okay, now that clamp is free, I need to go back in with these pliers and again just twist that hose some. I can't twist it or torque on it very hard because the fitting that it goes into in the intake manifold is actually part of the intake manifold, and it's plastic. So if I break that thing, I just broke the intake manifold, and there's probably no way to actually repair that. So if I break it off, we're done. So using the wrong method or the wrong pliers, or even prying against it and not realizing you're putting like a side load on it, that could cause that nipple on that fitting to break off. So it looks like here I just went in with a pocket screwdriver and dug under the hose to break that adhesion there, that bond, and the hose came right off, no worries. Now on the back of this intake manifold, there is a power steering hose bracket that has 2 10mm nuts or bolts, and there's also a stabilizer bracket that's designed to come off of the back of the cylinder head and then bolt onto the back of the intake, and that's just to provide some rigidity to the intake. That way it can't wobble around and vibrate and rock back and forth and potentially work gaskets loose or even break. All right, so at this point, I've managed to disconnect that power steering hose bracket in the back of the intake that you can't see. And I've also bear hugged this engine long enough to get the 14 millimeter bolt out that is part of the support bracket on the back of the intake. I'm almost ready to start unbolting this unit, but there's this wiring harness conglomeration in the way that's actually bolted down. So we're just disconnecting any connectors that are holding onto that and pulling that thing away, so we have some access to the actual bolts for the upper intake manifold. Looks like it's disconnected here. Yep, looks good. And I think we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fasteners on this manifold. And they're all going to be of the 10 millimeter variety. I'm just going in here with the 1/4 inch drive, impact driver, and we're just pulling all those fasteners loose. On the corners, there's going to be 2 nuts, and then the rest of it will be, I think those were M8 bolts with a 10 millimeter head, so there's 4 of those in the front, and then 2 larger, longer ones right in the middle of the 3 intake runners. See them right there with the little white gaskets in the bottom of them? Now, it tricked me at first. I just tried to pick this thing up and it was still bolted on. But no matter, 2 more to go. We will unclickage these things and pull this guy out. For the record, it's weird to say unclickage while not actually in the moment. Okay, we're back to normal since I took my microphone thing off the camera again. It was a good idea, but I guess the receiver of the mic was turned on while it was in my briefcase, and it was turned on all day and I didn't notice, so the battery died. Yay! Regardless, now the intake manifold is off and we can now get to our ignition coils. So the front 3 were easiest, they were right here, but the back 3, these were the ones that were the challenge. So all we need to do at this point is get these guys disconnected. So what I need to do is push back this little black piece, then we can push on the connector release and then slide it off. So do the same thing here on this one on the right, or on the middle rather. Come on out of there. Don't break it. See you, brother. Appreciate you. So you hear it click. That's the tab disconnecting. Push that one back. There we go. And uno más right here. Push that one back. All right, 3 disconnected. We'll pull the harness out of the way. And now I can pull the 10 mils out of the coils. Got it. All right, coil 1. It's not really 1. I don't know what cylinder that is. I didn't look, but coils are coming out. There's 2 of them. And numero 3. Alrighty, so while we're here, let's go ahead and pluck out these intake manifold gaskets. I have a new set on the way. Oh, it's 1 gasket. Look at that. Bye-bye. That thing was flattened and nasty. Let's stick some protection on here so we don't drop things down inside of the hole and then have to fish them out with a magnet. Or even worse, unknowingly drop things in the hole, like dirt. Plus, if I don't do it, you guys will freak out on me. Whee! And that's never good. All right, let's get in there and pull out our plugs and see what they're looking like here. To the best of our knowledge, these are original spark plugs in this engine. And the survey says we're looking at their NGKs, IRs. Look at the carbon on that thing. Okay, these are the OEs. The electrode looks a little worn out. Yep, good time to replace these. Goodbye. All right, that's one removed. Let's pluck out the other two back here. This one, it's in similar condition. Okay, numero 3. Unclicks. And that one's the same as the others. Alrighty. Alrighty, new spark plugs coming in. These are the OE equivalent. It's a different part number, but they are NGKs and they are platinums. I think these are the G-Power platinums, something like that. Let's get these guys started down in the hole. We'll run them down, make them tight, then we can go on to the front side after the intake goes back on. The front side's the super easy side. Go, put that one on. Forward electron clickages. I'm not letting the tool apply power torque to this once it bottoms out. See that? Do it by hand. The tool is just there to speed things up. That's good. Tight. Wonderful. Alrighty, we've got all three of our ignition coils here. Let's give it a squirt of dielectric. Keep moisture out. And these guys can go right back where they belong. Click those down over the plugs. Plug them in and tighten them down. There we go. Good. And we've got 3 10mm fasteners here to fasten these coils down to the valve cover here. Good. A little bit of forward torque on those. Nice. Alrighty, let's get our new intake manifold gasket set up on the lower intake. I think it's gonna go one of 4 ways. Upside down, left or right, or inside out. And backwards. Okay, that fits nicely. Alright, good to go. Let's get the intake in here, bolt it on, then we'll get those front spark plugs. Very nice. Alrighty, intake manifold coming back in, and we're gonna make sure that the audio does not go anywhere this time. I tell you, things come in waves. Like, never had these problems before, and now all of a sudden I'm ruining my own videos. Try to make them better. You buy better stuff and then it doesn't work because it's 2023 and nothing works, and then it ruins your video. Unbelievable. Oh well, I'll get over it. I'll be fine. No worries. There we go. Let's get our bolts set up here. That's the big one. That's the second big one. We're gonna thread all the bolts in before we try to tighten them. For that reason right there. Saw how that one didn't turn, but then I wiggled the thing around, then it turned. You gotta watch out for that. Alrighty, so we've got the 2 10mm nuts. Those go on the back corners of the manifold studs. There's another one over here on this side. Then we've got our 4 shorter 10 mil bolts to go in the front of the manifold right here. Drop those guys in. There we go. Here, let's get these tightened down a little bit. Alright, we need some actual clicks on these fasteners. Incoming torque wrench. Next. That back one, the other back one, and then the long ones. There we go. All right, bolts are all torqued, fasteners are fastened. Let's start getting some connectors connected. We're done on this section of our manifold. Let's see here, that's our map sensor. We're good on the rest of these, and we've got some fasteners for this wire harness here. A couple of those. They're the ones with the big washers on them. Because they are fastening plastic. I guess the washers are for a larger contact area. Makes sense to me. 10 mil coming back in. And that's all 3 of these. Good. Let's see, over here we've got, there's a connector. There is a connector. Did I get them all? Let's see, can't put that on yet because I need to reach around and get those fasteners on the back side for the brackets. All right, we're cooking now. I got the bracket bolts in. Let's get our hoses re-hosed. This clamp's got to go back. That's that weird goofy one that I had a hard time getting a hold of earlier. Let's put that guy back on. Flip it around so the next guy can't take it off either, because that's where it goes. I know, I'm horrible. Right, what a terrible thing. I'm a horrible human being. We'll get the, there. We'll get the brake booster vacuum line on. Move that connector back, or clamp rather. Put that one back where it goes. And then, let's see, that goes to the air box. Let us get our throttle body back in position here. Actually, you know, before we do that, let me spray the back of this out. It's got a little bit of carbon and whatnot built up in there. Couldn't hurt to clean it out. There, we just need a little bit of spray. Nothing crazy. Get some spray on it. Open the valve. Go in there with a towel and wipe it out. There we go. Nice and shiny. And same thing on the top side here. Nice. Good to go. Okay, now we'll put our throttle body back on. Get that guy bolted back together. Again, that's just these 4 10 mil bolts. Next one. Next one again. And then the next one after those next ones right there. See, I like this method. Now we don't have coolant lines to put back on. Clicks. Three and 4th click. There we go. All right, let's back it up some and we'll get our air box and plumbing reassembled over here. First, we need to get this flex pipe in. That's gonna squeeze, how did this go? I think it went, I do not remember. It goes this way. Yeah, it goes like that. Somehow, some way. Trying to figure out where that baffle is supposed to rest. I think it's like right. There we go. I got it. I figured it out. Good. Okay, let's start getting some more hoses connected so all the mess is cleaned up and everything starts to look organized again. That'll help me spot things that may have been overlooked, like more hoses and connectors. That's the worst, man. You get through a job like this and you left like one hose off. It sets an even code or something silly. It's never okay. Let's plug that one in. One more clamp right there. Good to go. All right, the air box is coming in next, and we need to line up this grommet right here with that little peg right there, and then slip the hose into the ductwork here. So we're just gonna bend that out of the way. I'm gonna push this thing back up and over the motor mount / transmission mount. Slide the hose on to get that extra bit of space, and then the peg, push that down the hole there. Good. So we can clamp our clamp. Come on, clamp. There we go. And then the 2 bolts down below. That one. Get in there. What is this? Oh no, it has become misaligned. There. Got it. Clicks. Beautiful. All right, right here we've got another connector that plugs into the box, and then that goes to the mass airflow sensor, which is also in the box here. All right, battery coming in. Let's pick up our positive cable assembly and set that aside so we don't smash it. And then I can drop the battery down without smashing the flanges. Get our bracket, set that thing down, line up the bolt, which I got that. We can tighten this while we're here. And socket change for the bracket. 12 mil coming in. Ding. Bracket clickage. Negative cable. Got it. Tighten that guy down just a wee bit. Cables are tight. Let's get our snorkel on. Slip that in, bend it, push it in, clip it on, good to go. The snorkel is fastened with 2 little plastic push clip pin things. Stick those in the hole and push them down. That thing is secured. All right, now for the easy part. Let's get the last 3 spark plugs and coils. Again, 3 more bolts. Spin these guys right on out and pull the coils out. Look at that, we don't even have to disconnect them. There's enough wire here, I can just set it off to the side. I probably could have done that with the rear coils also, but I didn't think about it. Let's get in here and pop these guys out. Similar condition to the others in the rear. Not enough. More. Yep, that one's about the same. Oops. Hit you guys with my electron ratchet. Sorry. I didn't mean to strike you. Oh, look at that one. It's kind of rusty. All right. All right, let's do an extension change on our wobble spark plug socket. We get the new plug set up in the socket, longer extension down in the hole, get it started, and run her down. Click. That's 1, 2. You know, something just occurred to me. I actually have 8 of these spark plugs. I don't know if I ordered 8 for a V6 or if they sent me 8. Either way, 2 have to go back. There we go. And then last one right here. Drop this guy down. Give it a couple turns. Come tight, please. There we are. Good to go. Let's get some lube insertion going on here. That's that coil. Next coil. Oh, by the way, I know you're gonna ask, or somebody is, why did I go through all this work to pull the intake manifold and we did not replace the valve cover gaskets? 2 reasons. Number 1, they're not leaking. And number 2, these valve cover gaskets call for much more labor than just the spark plugs and intake. So we don't really see the reason to spend extra money right now to do something that, well, it's not a problem. That's why. All right, spark plugs are on, good to go. Let's hit the key and starting the engine. All right, here we go. Beginning engine starting sequence now. Aha! It is alive. Excellent. Powering down. All right, guys, the thing runs, it doesn't misfire. Its maintenance has been brought back to life. We got to add some coolant, but that's going to happen later because Troy was working on the rest of this stuff and I'm going to have him finish it. But right now he's over there doing some AC work, so first I'm going to have him finish that. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and finish this right now because my section of this repair is complete. So having said all that, I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video. As always, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, please feel free to let me know about that in the comment section down below. Don't forget to tap that like button while you're down there. And most importantly, have yourselves a fantastic day. See you guys later in a video, in a Kia, in a tune-up, in a spark plugs, in a transmission.